It's Wisdom Fest Week 2, and we're here to learn about welcoming millennials. Millennials are individuals, and as individuals cannot be stereotyped. That's why we're encouraging you all summer to get to know millennials as individuals. And millennials are also a generation. The Gallup organization has done extensive research into understanding millennials to better help us all see trends and gain awareness about how this generation is affecting the world. Jim Clifton, Gallup CEO, says, "People often ask, are millennials really that different?" He replies, yes, profoundly so. Millennials are shifting things decisively more than any other generation. One significant way they're impacting the world is in how they view the institutions and standards of society. Millennials are not at all about accepting the status quo. They believe we need to find a better way, and they're committed to being a part of the necessary disruption required to get there. One specific example is the way millennials think about the value of a college degree, and there are good reasons. Number one, they're the most highly educated generation. More than 20% have a college degree, and another 30% or so have some college education, more than any other generation. And yet they've quickly discovered that these degrees don't necessarily assure them full-time jobs with benefits. Number two, they're by far the generation most buried in college debt. In 2014, total outstanding student debt reached a whopping $1.2 trillion. That's 3 times the student debt 10 years earlier, and approximately 2/3 of that debt is held by millennials. Most millennials are ready to see something change in the formula of how we do higher education. Interestingly, millennials are a group without attachments. They don't automatically see loyalty as a good thing. They're much less likely to identify with a political party, less Democrats and less Republicans, way more independents. They're much less likely to feel close ties to a job or even a brand. And millennials are less likely to affiliate with a particular religion. 44% say that religion is not important to them. More than 50% say they seldom or never attend church, and the percentages increase every year. Millennials who stay a part of the church are the exception. Recently, I pulled up to a traffic light with my windows down, and the car right next to me was driven by a young man who looked to be in his mid to late 20s. He also had the windows down and a podcast playing very loudly. I could hear the narrator telling stories of people coming out to their parents and grandparents. As I listened, I realized he meant coming out about rejecting God and religion. Barna research 3 years ago confirmed that right at 60% of millennials raised in church have dropped out, and 35% have an anti-church stance. The breach of trust that millennials feel toward church and many other age-old institutions is deep, and their perspectives aren't going away. They're not content to just go with the flow. It would be accurate to say that millennials as a generation are disruptive. They sure don't want to be a part of accepting and perpetuating what they believe is dysfunction. They want to make the world a better place, and sometimes that requires shaking things up a little bit.